What's up, fight fans? We are back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. I'm always your host, Edwin. Where the wall fights start.
Round one.
Let me know you guys hear me loud and clear out there. Put on my headphones here. Lock in, you know. So how you guys doing out there today, man? There's a lot to talk about in boxing. Uh, as you guys know, I've been locked in training and stuff. Trying to get you guys this sparring footage right now, but it's been a little difficult finding gentlemen my age or around my age to get proper sparring with. But I think today, Thursday, we'll lock in on that with my team and everything. So, but I'm in the gym. You know, uh, why does it look like there's a delay in my audio and everything? Looks like a big time delay, right? I don't know. Maybe it could be. What's up, Carlos? How you doing? Jeffrey, what's up? Uh, Hold on. Uh, I'm not getting anything here. Sounds good. All right. It just looks like the audio is off from my video and shit. But there's a lot of interesting things going on in the world of boxing, and I just wanted to get up and touch on it and see what you guys. It's a little bit, yeah. All right. So, uh, one of the biggest stories I thought that was real interesting in boxing, and I didn't hear a lot of people talk about this, right? Was the Jaime Munguia test results. You guys do know that there was a letter written, published out, saying that Jaime Munguia was acquitted of all charges. Once again, another boxer tested positive in Reynoso's camp, right? But another fighter acquitted, not guilty. And I find this real interesting. This is, for me, this is a bigger story than Tank Davis and Jake Paul. I'd rather talk about that than that. Tell you the truth. Because how important and how do you feel about that as the viewing boxing audience? And are you calling bullshit here? How do you guys see this? Let me explain the scenario right now. I'm telling you right now, I'm not accusing anybody, right? I'm just merely stating, right, what possibly some people are thinking. Some have already drawn a conclusion, right? And before you think you know where I'm going with this, stick around. Let's see how we break this scenario down, right? All right. There's two sides to this coin, meaning there's the guilty, and there's the unfortunate, right? Okay? Uh but there's the innocent and the wrongly accused, okay? And these things correlate with one another, meaning, okay, if you're thinking that this always has to do with the athlete and Reynoso's team, you're only viewing this one way. Okay? Have you ever sat back and thought, yo, it could be the testers? Not the testers that are messing up the test, but the testers and the doping agency that's trying to bust these athletes. Meaning, when Ryan Garcia first popped positive, it was announced that he popped positive for 2 banned substances, not 1, 2. And even though the guy that was submitting the paperwork for the tests knew that the second one was going to fall, he still said, my name will be tied to this as the guy that busted Ryan, and so I'm going to put it on. Because what they're saying now to us, to the public, is that the reason why Jaime Munguia was found to be anywhere and, guilty, and that the test came, that it was a false positive. A false positive, meaning that the agency that tested him knew what he was false positive for. They knew, they had to have known that, oh, he's going to get this beat. They'll eventually throw this out, right? Okay. Ironically, Eddie Reynosa's track record with getting some of these things swept under the carpet, it's a little bit, right? Saul Canelo Alvarez tested positive for a banned substance. What they did was it computed all? What they did was the WBC, they raised the limit that a fighter can have so that Saul was just over that limit, so he done no wrong. But prior to that, he was over the line. Somehow the WBC changed their rules, raised the limit. Now Saul has done no wrong. What happened to Valdez? Oscar Valdez. Didn't he get acquitted too? And I want you guys to know one thing. When it says acquittal, they didn't find you. You don't get put on a cheating list. You can't be a cheater if you beat it, right? So that's gonna later on. But the doping agency, they're not your friends, are they? They don't care if they smeared your name. Their job, what they did when they accused you, the minute they accused you, you were guilty in the eyes of many. Now, when they're giving this excuse and they're saying, nope, it was a false positive, false contamination. What are the people, do you really believe that letter, that message got out to every single person that heard that he was guilty? And then on top of it, make everybody think that he isn't guilty. With the history that gym has with testing, what is going on over there? Is it really a case where this doping agency has it out for this guy, this coach, and his fighters? Or is there something going on behind the scenes? And that's my question to you. Like I have no proof either way. I have no proof that they're doing something foul, and I have no proof that they're not. What I do know is he got found now guilty. According to the article that they put out, so that means that Bruno's little Sarah here, his little victory, he's not going to get it. He's not going to get that no contest. It's going to have to go down that Jaime beat him. They're going to have to reflip that. Wasn't it reported that they had halted that win after he tested? You see? So what does this do for the boxer? And does these doping agencies got to get their shit together? Who's really at fault here? Where's the crack in the system? How can this be fixed? Those are my questions. I have questions. I need answers. How can this be fixed? You mean to tell me that, your fighters in particular all get tested positive? Not all of them, but shit, 7 fighters out of that camp? And how many of those fighters all got acquitted? You know what I mean? How many of them got acquitted? I think out of all the fighters that got tested positive, I believe that it's four of them that shit. I knew this. I don't know why I'm having a brain fart right now. I think there's 4 of them. It's Saul, Jaime now, Oscar Valdez. Any of you guys can help me out with this? How many guys? But I'm talking about the guys that beat it, not the list of the guys that got caught for banned substance coming out of that Reynoso's gym. Not everybody. I'm not saying everybody. I'm saying the guys that got popped and then later were found not guilty, like Saul. See, because when you're gonna look up the cheater list to see who, Saul's not gonna come up on that list. Y'all know that, right? He's not coming up on that list anymore. And you're not gonna be able to question his legacy like a real cheater. Like say, okay, somebody was test positive in home runs or whatever. Their home run streak won't go into the Hall of Fame. They'll consider it a steroid era, type shit. You see what I'm saying? So once you test positive, it's gonna question all your divisions, all your belts, right? That's not happening for Saul now, is it? Nah, that's water under the bridge, homeboy. Either Eddie Reynoso knows someone higher up that can do shit like that. You mean you can convince the doping agency to take the black eye rather than your fighter? So it's your agency. It's you're what's the problem. Because apparently it's tainted shit right here. You guys are not tested. I thought that this place, Vada, ain't they supposed to be the best in the world? How does this keep happening? How? And that's my question. How is it that nope, he's full pop, nope, let's raise the level, nope, bad eggs, right? Nope, who do you fucking know, dude? I don't know. Do you have the worst luck with your fighters? Is it only you? Is any other coach experienced this with this company? Is any other team? And I think that this is a big story right here. This right here. Because when we look back and we talk about, corruption and blah, 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 and, we want guys fighting on even playing fields and the best fighting the best. Well, then damn it. When a guy gets caught, bagged, listen, I've argued this point with guys, and it seems like the world doesn't want to accept it. The truth is the truth. Please, I beg you, look it up. Ryan Garcia never got suspended for a PE substance. He was never found guilty for that. You could say all you want. Oh, the Austrian was found in his system. Okay. Prove it. Go. Right now on my show, I'll drop the link. Prove that Ryan Garcia had Austrian in his system. Prove that he was found guilty for the Austrian. Ryan Garcia was never found guilty for that. He was found guilty for not submitting his supplements. 2 of his supplements. That's what he got the year ban for. He's the first boxer in boxing history to actually get a suspension for that rule. Ryan Garcia, look it up in the fucking history books. He's the only boxer in history that ever got fucking suspended for that. It is Ryan Garcia. And people are like, oh no, he was on the, no, listen, say what you want. Say what you want. That never came out. It never came out that Ryan Garcia actually was on Austrian. How much did it affect him? We never got, where's your answer? Whoever told you definitively, did that affect the fight? That means that Devin Haney's scientist and the number, he had to be in agreement. He had to be like, yo, Bill, or Devin Haney. Yo, man, what we found in Ryan Garcia, man, he wasn't going to have no effects. Actually, that's a tainted, a banned thing once again. And Ryan Garcia really didn't have anything in his system. They had to have told the Haneys that, because the Haneys would have never let that go. You think Bill Haney would have came back? Yeah, yo, that dude is doped up to the gills. Fucking Ryan was on that super Austrian. You think he was gonna let that fly? Bill Haney? Bro, to hurt his son like that? He would have had a locked and sealed case. There was no need to back down. And you mean to tell me that Bill Haney and Devin Haney pulled out on their lawsuit for a future fight with Ryan Garcia that's not happening because Ryan Garcia lost to Rolly? So what would the Haneys stand to gain? Just think about it logically. They had to have known Bill Haney and them and Devin didn't have enough evidence. Their guy, the guy they hired, had to look over their case. And it's not Ryan's guy saying this to them. No, they got their own money. They got their own people. They go get them. Sick them. That's what I'm paying you for. And when he sent this guy out there to go get all the labs, and his guy went over it, he must have been like, bro, if we go to court with this, you're not going to win. He had to have told the Hennies that, because I'm telling you right now, bro, me lo fucking pico, bro, if you think that Bill Henny was going to let that boy off the hook, there had to be a reason. And then the fact that he didn't get found guilty for it. So these kind of things, man, yo, at the end of the day, it was going to be slander, right? And Ryan's going to be able to sue people if they call him a cheater for a test, because in 10 years from now, yo, mark my words, bro, you're not going to be able to call that kid a cheater. We know you had the Austrian. And? No, that's what you heard. That's all he has to say. No, that's what you heard. That's what you were told. They told you I had Austrian in me. Did they ever prove it? What was the amount? They told you that? Who told you that? Who told you that? That's all Ryan got to say. Who told you that? Okay, where is it? Show me. You're never going to be able to get it. There's no paperwork on earth that says Ryan Garcia got found guilty for Austrian. There is none. Bro, I read that fucking thing 10 times. He got found guilty for two substances that he didn't submit. That's it. And then look at Jaime Munguia. And this is going to go on. Look at Connor Ben. Oh, it was eggs. That's what happened. They lifted my suspension. They found me not guilty. Really? So, Gerald Miller, that tested 3 times in the Anthony Joshua fight, leading into that fight. Okay. My question to you guys is this. Is it worse to get popped before a match or after the match? Meaning, Gerald Miller never got popped, and he actually was in competition, went and fought AJ all juiced up to the gills, and he could have hurt that man. Now, after the fight, had he had won all juiced up, we got a problem. Charges can be filed, right? Okay. So that means what? He never fought him. So is that you were caught before you can do anything? Is that worse or is that less? How do you guys feel about that? And how can we fix this? Where's the problem? How is it that you guys pop, then all of a sudden, wait a minute, folks, ladies and gentlemen, it was a false positive. Huh? Yo, you pop dirty today.
A few moments later.
Huh?
No, you're clean. You're a clean athlete. Yeah, it's great, yo. And we demand what? For this to get better? What are we doing about it? Ryan Garcia was not what? With Eddie. Oh, yeah, I know that. When he got popped. No, he wasn't. The world knows that. The world knows that. Ryan Garcia got kicked out of that gym for being lazy as fuck. That was his MO, right? I'm not saying that he ever was. You know what I mean? But I'm just bringing up guys that test positive. We'll talk about that. The Haney's know exactly how much Austrian was found in Ryan's system, but it is so low that they would listen. They had to have known, guys. You don't understand, Robert. My man, Haney's and them got lawyers. They got their own scientists. They got their own guys that are testing all this shit. You know what I mean? And then like, I'll call you back. They got all they like. So when the results were brought back to the Haneys, they had to have looked that over and said, man, listen. Because I'm gonna tell you what, right? I love my sons. And as a father, if I ever had any of my sons competing inside the ring, and it was later found out that after my son lost, that the guy he fought against had something in his system, you can believe me. I'll publicly say this: all bets are off. As a father, I'm coming to look for him. I want answers, but I don't need, at this point, I'm not going to need somebody to go get him for me. I'm going to go get him myself. You tried to kill my boy. You tried to hurt my boy. As a father, I wouldn't take that lightly at all. That's something. There's some PEs for eye-to-eye coordination. You can kill someone on that shit. Hell yeah. My son would have never got hit with shots like that because you're not that skilled. But when you put like that, it's like everything's slow motion for you. You're just tagging. You're just like, oh, opening. I see it. It's right there. It's right there. And you got all energy for days. You see? So when Bill Haney found out about the amount, his team had to have advised him, yo, bro, the amount they found inside of him, tell you the truth, Bill, that falls under tainted substance. If you keep fighting this, his lawyer can probably argue this out of court under that being so minuscule that it had to be a tainted substance. And he can bring up several cases in the past that tested like this. But it goes to show you, right? Is there another problem here? Is it the doping agency? Could they? And I'm not saying that they are. I'm just hypothetically putting this out there because this is another side of the equation. Could the doping agency be abusing their power? Could the doping agency, knowing, right, they can't monitor every agent, every test result they put out at the main headquarters, because these guys are going out to various places and taking these tests. They're on the road. And I'm sure at one point they're going to submit what they found, their finding. But when they're out there on the road, maybe if you're not playing ball, I don't know how it goes. Could it be some form of shakedown? Or if you don't, your guy, he's going right up there. You know how that is. Once they say you're a cheater, you're always going to be looked at like a cheater. Listen, I don't care if Saul beat that. I don't care. Tell me honestly, you think all the Saul haters think that he's a clean athlete? Ask yourself, what is a disgruntled worker would say about the job? You think everybody's like, nah, you know what? Didn't you hear? Saul Canelo Alvarez was acquitted. He was found not guilty. You think everybody's like, yeah, that's the truth? Or you think there's people out there saying, no, he's a fucking cheater? How many people, you know what I'm saying? Once they say that about you, and then in some cases, it could be a false positive, my man. And now that person forever, he's gonna have to wear this like scarlet letter, like what's going on here? And that's where's the problem lie? What's really what's really going on? Are these guys dirty? Are they buying their way out of it? Are they fighting their way out of a system that's trying to shake them down? These are all hypothetical questions. And I'm just merely saying what I think a lot of you guys are thinking in various ways. Some of you think Jaime's dirty, bro. No matter if he gets acquitted, how many of you guys think he's dirty? Huh? How many of you guys think he's clean? And coming from there, from the history? Huh? I mean, I'm not sure, man. But I definitely think that this is a bigger problem than fucking Jake Paul and Tank Davis fighting in boxing. That's a big problem. That's a big problem, but I don't think it's a bigger problem than this. Okay? Tank Davis' situation, he's doing this to his own legacy. You see, there's a difference where that a doping agency can single-handedly, on a false positive, damage your career and your reputation as an athlete. And even though you're found later acquitted, not guilty of all this, you're going to find yourself for years arguing that same point by reporters, fans asking you, hey, didn't you? And you're like, didn't you hear that I was acquitted? And you're gonna have to say this over and over and over again. And even though you were acquitted, how do you feel as an athlete once you was branded a cheater? You know, so now Jaime Munguia's win that stays a win, and Bruno's no contest, which didn't they award him a no contest? So that goes back to a loss. So now Bruno got to come up with I got my ass kicked by a clean athlete. Now, what do you think Bruno's camp is doing about this? And do they feel that this is a case where it's who you know? I'm just thinking out loud. I have no proof and I'm not making any accusations on anyone. I'm just merely thinking out loud. And I'm asking you guys, how are you guys feeling? You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, Jaime Munguia's test got overturned. Yeah, it got overturned. So I've been talking about it all morning. I just find this so, you know what I mean? And then one time Keith Thurman is about to fight Sebastian Fundora. And for the most part, I'm not sure I can say that one time Keith Thurman is, has rightfully earned it. I think that he's made himself a mark in boxing. And I think that boxing is a business disguised as a sport. So I can see it because of marketing, key value, one time Keith Thurman, such and such. And I can see a lot of people viewing the fight itself a slight mismatch. But I think what they're doing is they're once judging one time Keith Thurman for the fighter he once was. And make no mistake, yeah, he knocked that dude out. But listen, come on, let's be for real. And then Mendoza knocked out Sebastian Fundora. So they're like, yo, he's been dropped before. He's been in tough fights. But I disagree. What one man did doesn't mean that the next man can do. And I have to admit that Sebastian Fundora's weakness is that overhand shot. For as tall as he is, he don't think that these short dudes can get that. He hasn't corrected that. In his last fight, he was getting tagged with the same punch that he got knocked out with. So I can't say but I can say that he's fighting a lot better, though, Sebastian Fundora. He's not the same fighter that he was when he got knocked out by Mendoza, that tall guy that wants to fight on the inside. Of late, he's been utilizing his reach. you know, and he can crack. He can crack, you know. So Sebastian, I don't know. I don't know. I think this is gonna be a tough task for one time Keith Thurman, but I think if anybody can get it done, Keith Thurman can probably get this shit done, bro. No bullshit, bro. I think at one point in time, I wouldn't even be second guessing this. There was a point in I be like Keith Thurman, he got this all day. I would have had Keith Thurman in this fight, but times have changed. Sebastian Fundora is fighting like a champ. And look, I can't even say that Tim Tszyu did good against Sebastian, but Tim Tszyu doesn't move his head. He don't be moving his head that much. He keeps it right there. And Sebastian was finding him. And Tim Tszyu's a tough dude. The fact that he made him quit, that was a statement for me anyway. Because Tim Tszyu, he's a broken fighter. I don't think if Tim Tszyu never got knocked out like that, he doesn't quit in that fight. Yeah, because Tim Tszyu didn't have no quit in him. When he was undefeated, when he had that big gash, and he had no quit in him. And now, I'm not gonna say he checked out because you have no idea what a Sebastian Fundora punch feels like. You know, until you fucking know what that shit feels like, then, you know, because I know a lot of flacos, a lot of skinny dudes that can crack like heavyweights. I'd be like, where the fuck did that shot come out of that little ass skinny dude? And he just snap, pop. And it's just, some people are more in tuned without even knowing. You don't have to teach them. You don't got to coach them. Nothing. They know naturally what they're doing. Whether or not they realize what they're doing or not, instinctively, it's just snapping off. Snap. And I know some skinny dudes that can crack. So, look, I like the fight. I can't say I don't like the fight. Interesting fight. Even the Subriel Matias fight with Dalton Smith, what happened in Boxing News. That story right there speaks louder than this freaking Tank Davis shit. The fact that Turki Al-Sheikh was involved with the WBC, they're in bed together, right? We all know this, right? And Mauricio could have just, Subriel, I'm sure he did. We want you to fight Dalton Smith. And it was agreed to. But I bet you they try to pay him chicken scratch. And Subriel's team and them, they one up them. They said, no, what you're offering is nah. We'll go to a purse bid. And they said, you want to go to a purse bid with this fight? They said, ha ha ha. All right. We'll even get it on the low. These are promotional gimmicks and tricks in the game. When you want to not pay for a fight, like when the Devin Haney and Sando Martin situation went to purse bid and nobody but Bob Arum bidded on the fight, and then the fight never materialized, right? Because now they got it for the low. So things like this happen. Fresh Promotion, they weren't bullshitting. They got the bid. They won. Subriel Matias will not be fighting out there in Saudi on that card, on the David the Monster Benavides card. If you guys don't know, for any of you guys that don't know that, yes. And I think that was a power move in boxing. It goes to show that the athlete was betting on themselves. And they believe that Subriel Matias is worth more than what they're going to be getting. Because if you imagine, if it's 1.9, that's 1.9 two ways. What are you paying Dalton Smith out of that? What are you paying Subriel out of that? Yeah. So, interesting enough, I want to see what happens with that. But big power move in boxing, although, people just put their own shit in. I'm saying 7 guys got popped, and I can't even name 3. Jaime Munguia, Canelo Alvarez, and Oscar Valdez. But it's not about everybody that got popped. That's not what this story's about. You know what I'm saying? This is about a story about the guys that got popped that got acquitted. That's what I'm talking about. Everybody else that got popped that stayed dirty, well, then they're dirty. Then yeah, that's okay. How many of them got acquitted? You got to remember, Oscar Valdez got acquitted. Saul Canelo Alvarez got acquitted. Jaime Munguia got acquitted. Out of the same coach, out of this, you see what I'm saying? It's not adding anything to it. These are my questions. Do you have any answers for this? What's going on? That's my story. It's not about me. I have to go back and get everybody that was that for what? Is it they're still guilty in the book? Then they're guilty. There you go. What's there to talk about? I'm talking about the guys that got off the list. They will never be on a cheater's list. Ryan Garcia is not on a cheater banned list. His name doesn't pop up as a guy that used steroids in a sport. No, it doesn't. Find me where Ryan Garcia and Saul Canelo Alvarez are on a list still for banned substance. Find me the list. I read it this morning. They're not on it. They're not on it. There's a lot of boxers that got tested positive, bro. It's just not them, right? Although, arguably, can you guys remember any gym under one coach got popped more than this? And that's what my question to you guys. Is this a case of did somebody got it out for this guy? Is it a case where that maybe the agency is abusing their power or is these guys cheating and then it's who you know and who you can bribe and then you get it? Like, what's going on? I'm thinking out loud. You see what I'm saying? I don't have any answers to these questions. I don't have any. Are any of you on the inside that you know definitively, hey, this is what they're doing? Unless you could do that, then I got nothing for you. I got no, you know what I mean? All I can do is like, I'm sitting out here, I'm like, say that again? He got acquitted. You mean so the A1 tested positive, you guys ran it back, came out publicly and said that the B1 tested positive. So we were at 2 samples and you guys got that far on a false positive? Huh? Oh, and you guys are the best doping agency in the world.
A few moments later.
You're clean. The best doping agency in the world says first, you're dirty. And then, all of a sudden, 6-7 months later, you're clean again.
A few moments later.
Yo, I don't know where the where it breaks in the system. I don't know what the hell what to think. There's a part of me that are saying, wait a minute, there's something going on here. There's another part of me saying, well, wait a minute. You ever think about maybe that these guys are the guys that's the problem and it's not the athlete? You know, and there's another part of me going, wait a minute. You know, it seems that these higher up guys are getting off. And I'm like, what? So I have a lot of questions. I do. At this point, I don't know what to believe. And my question is, how many of you guys think Jaime Munguia is really dirty? Well, according to what's being said right now, he's a clean athlete, and the doping agency's taking the black eye. What they do, come out publicly and say, yeah, we're admitting this was a false positive, and you guys let it get this far. Sample A, sample B. I mean, these are procedures and measures that are put in place so we don't get this far. Am I correct? You have the A sample with the B sample, right? And the difference between the two, right? Okay. I would imagine that it's like any drug test in the world, right? Say you were on parole or something, right? And you go to this place and they test you, or you go to a courthouse, wherever it is, however they do it. They test you. The first sample that they urinate and they put in the cup, they'll do like a straight test. They'll test it, pop, to see if you have anything in you. If you pop dirty on that test, but you argue it and you say, nah, your tester is at fault, they're going to take the same cup with urine. They're going to send it to a lab. The lab is then going to take it and break the urine down for a more thorough check to see if that's exactly what it is. If you didn't, it'll come up and, oh, you must have ate a bagel with poppy seeds on it. That's what happened. Before you came here, you went to Dunkin' Donuts, you ate a bagel, didn't you? Yep, poppy seeds, right? Yep. It came up false positive, right? Okay. So that's why these things are put in place. Secondary precaution to extract, say, wait a minute, and there's blood work, urine and blood work for the athlete. So now you got a tube of their blood and a urine sample. The first one could have popped for urine sample and one tube of blood, and then they go and test the second tube. So when the second tube came back, the reports initially came out, what did they say? Am I missing anything here? What they say? He was guilty. That vial B matched the results of vial A. Bruno was announced that it was a no contest. Jaime Munguia's name was in the gutter. And all of a sudden, I wake up today. Bing! Rise and shine. New day, baby. Guess what? What? Jaime's innocent. Inocente. Huh? What you mean? Didn't he get back? No. You haven't heard the news? What's the news? He's innocent. Okay? Huh? Wait, hold on.
A few moments later.
What? How does he keep doing this? How does some of his guys keep popping and they keep beating it? I don't know, man. Who did Ed Hearn convince on Conor Benn on that side when you see it happen over there in the UK? Remember, Conor Benn was issued a 2-year ban. He came out. He still didn't respect the 2-year ban that his country gave him. All he did was leave the UK and come and fought in America. He basically slapped them in the face with, take your 2 years and rub it on your chest. And he came out here and fought. It wasn't the kind of suspension where it would have, like, remember when Ryan Garcia was suspended? He was on the 1 year because of the Devin Haney situation. And remember, Ryan Garcia was going to fight during that year. Where? In Japan. Against that Japanese kid. Right? Which he was tough as shit. I think he would have maybe fucked Ryan up, man. Right? But Oscar De La Hoya didn't sign off on it because he owns the rights to Ryan Garcia. So at that time, the only thing that did stop that fight, because They had a face-off and everything. Ryan Garcia and the Japanese dude, right? The only thing that stopped that fight was Oscar De La Hoya. He didn't go along with it. I'm not going to sacrifice my fighter. What I sign off on that. Garcia goes out there and gets knocked out. There goes my big bag payday with Devin Haney in the rematch and everything I build over here. He wasn't going to sign off on it. That's the only reason. See, so Ryan didn't even have to oppose the year suspension they gave him here. He can't fight in the U.S., but that didn't mean that he can't fight in Saudi Arabia or out there in Japan. And matter of fact, Saudi Arabia said he wasn't taking the Ryan Garcia fight because he was going to honor the suspension. Because Ryan could have fought over there on his card, one of his cards. So, is that a hole in the system? A flaw? That if you get bagged out here, fuck it. I'm going to UK, I'll fight out there. I'll go to Japan, I'll fight out there. I'll go to Riyadh season, I'll fight out there. I'll keep busy. And you think it should just be up to the fighter's reputation. Okay, no, I'm not going to fight out there because it's just not right. It's not right to do. Conor Ben didn't feel that way. He said, man, F that 2 years. I'm going over here and getting paid. That's exactly what he did. Exactly what he did. We all know Tyson Fury is held hostage where he's from. He can't leave. He got no passport. Feds won't let him out the country. I don't know. Add you up on Discord? All right. Can I look at the chat? Yes. Oh shit, I had all these go up on the top. I didn't scroll down. My bad. Chat, I'm sorry. Chicago Kills, what's up? Thurman should have what? Thurman should have fought Xander. I'm not sure if Xander was easier work than Sebastian Fundora, my man. I'm not sure. Chicago Kills. The reason why I don't think that he's easy work because out of the whole 154 pounders, out of all the champions, not the contenders, not everybody underneath, not the Virgil Ortiz, none of those guys, right? I'm just the champions, right? Xander's the better boxer out of all of them. He's a better boxer than Sebastian Fundora. He's a better boxer than Moratayev, right? He's better. So, no. One time Keith Thurman would have had to box a younger kid. Xander's 22 years old. You guys realize that, right? This kid doesn't stop throwing punches. One time Keith Thurman fought how many times in 7 years? Well, what is it in 7 years? How many times has he fought? Twice? You really think off that performance that he put on that one time Keith Thurman up, he's back. He's back to the way he once was. I don't think so. You put him in there with Xander, I think Xander might fuck Keith Thurman up. Keith Thurman got a lot of power. He's got pop. Xander's got to understand that. He's dealt with people with power. You know, and Xander's getting stronger and bigger. He's only 22 years old, man. He's a kid. I think he's the most dangerous. That's why he took Sebastian, which I think is the weakest, because out of all the champions, he got knocked out. How many of the champions right now at 154 got knocked out? Him. But yet nobody says he's the weakest champion. They say Xander is because he's the youngest? Because he has the less experience? Because he hasn't defended the belt yet? And you gave Sebastian Fundora that much credit over beating who? Tim Tszyu? Who's Xander's Tim Tszyu? Perez? Chino? I think Sebastian Fundora's fought pretty decent competition, man. I think he has. You know, now that I think about it, I'm sitting here. Xander hasn't really been so like, because he was just getting his feet wet. And just by putting his toe into the pond, look what he fucked around and became a world champion already. Xander. So now he's gotta maintain what he is, a world champion. And could Subriel Matias and Xander hook up in Puerto Rico and make a stellar Puerto Rican card? Would that be good? We got enough Puerto Rican boxers that we could put a card together. You take Xander, you take Matias that are champion, Oscar Collazo. You could put a couple good champions to represent, make title defenses, unifications on a Puerto Rico card, bro. And then you can cap it off with young talent like Keith Colon, like Juan Mita Lopez, you know, and you could stack that card with good talent. We have a lot of good Puerto Rican fighters right now, come to think about it. And I think Puerto Rico could hold their own right now in this moment. They can capitalize. They can bring the fans out, you know. But I think that if you want to capitalize on a fight like that with a card, maybe not put it in Puerto Rico, but New York City. I would open the big boy room in New York City and have them go there. Yeah. Because I think you would bring a more selection of fan out to New York. You know what I'm saying? But what card or what promotional network are they going to be fighting under now that ESPN is not filming their fights? And what is the future for Top Rank right now? And have they submitted, you know, are they going to definitively stay with Matchroom? Or, you know, where do, you know, I don't know, because things are subject to change. You know, they could, you know, so yeah. Bruno's camp can't do shit about it. Munguia got what? Yo, listen. And that's my whole thing, Robert, man. That's been my whole fucking show today. Everybody is not gonna view this the same way. We're people. We're entitled to our own opinions. And whether or not he really is clean or what have you, the fact that they said this, you know, that in some people's eyes, that tarnishes your career. You're probably gonna have to argue that for the rest of your life. No, but wait a minute. Didn't you pop positive? No, I cleared that. But you did pop positive though. No, I wasn't. Probably was a false positive. And here you are explaining yourself once again. Could this have been avoided? You know, can these athletes take legal action against the doping agency for accusing, for that way that the doping agency, there'll be penalties to their agents that know, you know, oh, I know that this is it looks like it's positive. I know it's a false positive, but you know, not, you can't put that out. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know. How do we fix this? How? You know, and that's my thing. Let me see what you're saying here, Robert. Oscar Valdez was not acquitted. Jaime and Canelo both were acquitted. Well, He didn't he go around saying some shit, Oscar Valdez? He wasn't acquitted or like on charges, or they just dropped the amount of the suspension time because the athletes will try to dress it up like that. You know, they'll get suspended for a year, right? They'll put in some paperwork, and the doping agency after like 8 months, 9 months will say, okay, we feel that you did enough time. We're gonna reduce the rest. We're gonna knock off the rest of your time. Then the athlete comes out and says, "Oh, look, they dropped my time. Not guilty. Not guilty. I told y'all, right?" And they do one of those. You know what I mean? Before, the place can get back out and, hey, no. So who's gonna contest it? See, boxing is the only sport where you can get away and say some shit and nobody will lift an eyebrow. Nobody. You can say some really outlandish shit in boxing, I can see. And people in boxing, the boxing world doesn't go in an uproar. Like if you was to announce tomorrow LeBron James got 8 rings and he beat Michael Jordan, the internet would break. The internet would break. What do you mean, Larry? Where the fuck is LeBron James got 8 rings from? Explain. We want answers. You got some explaining to do. But in boxing, you can just get up and say, Manny Pacquiao is an 8 division world champion. And the rest of the world would just believe it. You can get away with stuff like this in boxing. No one's going to question it. All you need is some guy with a credible name in boxing to report your story. That's it. The credibility it's a done deal. If VADA is the best doping agency in the world, then why did Floyd Mayweather never take a Good question. Once again, that's the shit I'm talking about. If they're the best in the world and these problems happen, other athletes from the outside in saying, I'm not fucking with you from the beginning because you're not putting me on one of your false positive shits. You know what I mean? Floyd was like, nah, you ain't gonna smear my name. So if he wasn't testing with them, who was Floyd testing with? There's WADA. Those two. They're the two leading in the world when it comes to testing. Those two organizations. And they kind of work hand in hand. They're two separate entities, yes, VADA and WADA. They're not the same testing. No, one's one thing and the other one's the other, like that. So we can look up Floyd Mayweather's, if you want to do that, what his career and who did he test with? You know what I'm saying? His test results. But, I'm not here to cast judgment. I'm here to report something in boxing I find very interesting. Find it very interesting. I have no guilty or not guilty shit. I don't work for the doping agency. I don't have the right to accuse a guy and definitely say, no, you were dirty. Under what? What evidence do I have to accuse the guy and say, nope, you were dirty? What evidence do I have to support that he was clean and that was a false positive? I can't do that. But there's a problem here somewhere, and the problem lays where? Where's the crack in the system? And in some of these situations, I'm asking the viewing audience very specific questions, meaning that if the first vial tested positive, we have precautionary measures put in place so that the second one, we can find out some more shit. So if the first one match and you come back and your plan B comes back positive too, so you mean to tell me that a false positive can get through all your system your second line of defense, everything. So you know what that means to tell me? That shit's not working. Your vial A and vial B method doesn't work. Because if you're only going by it tested positive, then damn it, that we already knew that second vial was going to test positive. What can you tell us from the second vial? How more in depth can you go? Why is it that we got past the second vial? We're already in the third phase of Jaime Munguia's alleged tested positive case, and now it comes back. Oh, guess what? He's inocente. Inocente. No jury, no court. What? So, who's taking the black eye on this? The doping agency? So, who's the guy's name? The agent that busted Jaime Munguia. What's his name? Huh? And his credibility as a doping agent, does that go up? How does that work? Is there any penalties to these guys for willingly knowing, wait a minute, this is obviously a false positive under these rules, under these reading. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to submit it anyway. Just like they did for Ryan. I watched that with my own eyes. You don't got to explain this to me. I have 2 eyes, 2 ears. Ryan was tested for 2 substances when he first popped. They said that you can go back, look it up. Those are facts. And the second one fell because of why? Because that's naturally built in the human body. And the guy that submitted the paperwork for him being dirty had to have known that. Why? Because he's a freaking doping agent. It's his job to know. It's his job to know what the tests are, what the limit is, everything, before he submits his finding. So he knew that second one was going to fall on Ryan. Nevertheless, he didn't give 2 shit. Oh, that's Ryan Garcia. Oh, not 1 banned something, but 2. Is that what's going on here? That these guys are under so much pressure from busting athletes that they're willing to submit false positives, knowing that that's what there is. That way they're meeting their quota to keep their job as a doping agent because they're saying, you're not busting anybody? How does that work? What's going on? I don't know. All I'm doing is thinking out loud. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. I don't have any answers for you. There's a problem here. I see a problem here. I'm addressing it. I'm about to go work out. I got to go hit this gym. I got to go do my morning session. I'm going to go do my morning session. Then I'll be back into the gym around 5-ish. Hopefully today there's some older, bigger guys there for me. These 2 past days, there's a bunch of young kids in there. There was no one really to spar, you know. And then the kids that were there, they were too green. I would have hurt them. It wasn't going to be right or competitive, and I wasn't going to put my hand on nobody's son like that. Even though they were older kids, I could call them kids. They're 21, 22 years old, 25, but they're real green, like really, really green. Like I would feel bad from punching these dudes because I'd hit them with clean shots. You know, you'd set them up easy, make one flinch, they'll bite, boom, and you'll get a big shot off. I won't feel right doing that. And then submitting that film to like Ness and them, like, oh, look at me beating up on like these kids and shit. You know what I mean? And then there was other ones that were there that they had too much energy. I was like, shit, I'm not getting in there with him. This kid's gonna throw 100 punches at me because he just feels like he wants to prove himself. There's those guys, you know? So there hasn't been right sparring partners for me. And remember, you know, I'm getting this because I'm being helped and stuff. I'm not like paying for a lot of this shit. I mean, I paid my membership to the gym, yeah, but you know, so I got to take what I can get. I got to take the sparring partners I can get And so hopefully today, we'll get a little sparring in and we'll get some of that film out. I'm feeling good as we get closer to the November 8th date. My wind is, I'm feeling better, a lot stronger. Um, I'm starting to get through the rounds and everything a lot better, a lot, and catching my breath in between. Now I just got to translate that to sparring once again, hitting a moving, awkward target, not like punching a bag that's rocking, standing still, coming back to you. It's a total different ball game when you're in there mixing it up, sparring. But I have experience sparring and stuff. I just would like to get hit. Let's get that out of the way. I want to see what the punches are like, and guys my size too. So that's all. But as far as my training, me jumping rope, hitting the bag, jogging. I got speed bag footage I never put up. I got actually some footage I actually have some footage, but it's not like they want the sparring one. You know what I mean? So uh it's like they want blood. They're not content with anything else. And I don't blame them because you want to make sure that we're training, that we're not going to go out there and gas out in one round or whatever, and really like put up shitty performances and stuff. Look, I'm locked in. Every day I'm getting stronger and stronger. I just want to get to that point, right? Where like the 4 week mark, so that in the 4 week mark I start cutting weight real good. I'm trying to stay around the weight cut because my fight is scheduled at 182 and 175, I believe, is the lowest, or 170. I think it's 182, 175, some shit like that, right? Or 162. 162 to 182. It's a 15-pound difference. So depending on where OC's at, then we'll talk as we get 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 4 weeks into the fight. I'm gonna check in with him and stuff, see how we're doing. But for the most part, I'm training. I'm training, guys. I'm not going in there to let you guys down or myself down. I've told a lot of people about this fight. I don't feel like going out there and getting smoked like that. Shit happens, but that would be up to me now, wouldn't it? Yes, I have to go out there and do my job. So I'm going to go right now. I got to hit this gym. I wanted to get up and talk to you guys about everything. The Saul Canelo Alvarez situation and fight. Um, that's going to be a monster fight. The next day, a real monster is fighting. Naoya, the monster Inoue. You guys know who he is. Stop playing with your boy. All right? You guys know who he is? Huh? Huh? What? Yo, my dude, yo. Listen, I got a lot of faith in Naoya Inoue, bro. I got a lot of faith in this dude. My man is really doing it big. I got to tell you, Japan got a real one. They got a real one in this dude. And the reason why I follow him so much, right? Naoya Inoue, the reason why I follow him so much, man, and I'm a big advocate for him. He's probably my favorite fighter, I got to admit. It's because every time I see him, I see a better version of him. He never seems to be slacking off. He's a great fighter in and out of the ring, man. He's fighting 4 times a year. He's not afraid to put up these belts. By saying that, he's telling the world, I am the best fighter in the world. There's no question about it. If you want to fight me, just step up to the plate. I will knock you guys all out. It's not like other fighters saying, no, I don't feel that you're worthy. I don't feel that you match me in ticket sales. He's not saying any of that shit. He's like, who's next? And that's it. He some of these fighters think because they get to this pinnacle in their career and they're selling a lot of tickets that they need their equal. Well, sometimes you don't have your equal in the division and you're going to have to share. You're going to have to carry the card. But you're going to have to fight somebody. And sometimes the best thing to do is just fight the next man up. Naoya Inoue is doing exactly that. He beat all the challengers. He beat and to speak about how good Naoya Inoue is, look what Stephen Kubo Fulton is about to do. Stephen Kubo Fulton, did you guys see him next to Oshasi Foster? Yo, Stephen Kubo Fulton looked big as shit at 130. Yo, and he's tall. Why do I think that these guys at 130 are so big? Like they were going to be so much taller than it. Yo, Naoya Inoue and Stephen Kubo Fulton, they were like this, bro. Naoya Inoue actually looked like he was the bigger dude in the ring. So if Stephen Kubo Fulton is doing that at 130, remember, the only loss he has is to Naoya Inoue. Stephen Kubo Fulton didn't win 10 seconds in that fight. And he's going up. He's on his third weight division. And I got him in that fight. I got Stephen Kubo Fulton against Oshasi Foster. I'm picking Stephen Kubo Fulton in that fight. I think he's slicker. I think Oshasi Foster he fights to the level of his competition and then he falls asleep behind the wheel for me. I think he fights really well. I hate to say it, but Oshasi Foster seems like he's not a closer. Yeah, against Conceiao, the second fight was more competitive. The first fight was one way, but he didn't get Conceiao out of there the first fight. Although somehow those three judges, they were smoking some real la-la, because I don't know how anybody in the world could have gave that fight to him. But it happened. And I think it's due in part to Oshasi Foster's not willing to go in there and be the more aggressor when your opponent is not bringing the fight to you. I think he fights to the level of his competition, Oshasi. Man, I think that Stephen Kubo Fulton has been showing improvements. I'm not saying that he's more powerful or, he doesn't seem to have that crack yet, but he looks fast as hell and his punches are well placed. Stephen Kubo Fulton. He's fast. He's athletic. He matches Oshasi Foster in every avenue with the jab, everything. Counter. He matches him. Stephen Fulton. He matches him. And to tell you the truth, I don't think Oshasi Foster has ever fought anybody with the skill like Naoya Inoue. Nah. Maybe not even on his power. Yo, Naoya Inoue, he might have the ability to do this shit. He might have got shook a little by getting dropped twice at 122. And that might have stalled him out to make that leap, to give him that confidence, because his dad is probably like, you see, you didn't get dropped once, you got dropped twice for being fucking anxious and reckless. Now take a fight here and stay right, keep your ass right here. Meanwhile, the guys that he beat are moving seamlessly through these divisions. Look at the two guys Nick Ball fought. The TJ, they fought Naoya Inoue. He fought two guys with a common opponent. Except Sam Goodman. I was going to say the two he was scheduled to fight him, they never actually fought because he never got a chance to fight Sam Goodman because Sam Goodman didn't want that smoke from Naoya Inoue. So we saw how that played out. But when you saw Sam Goodman, when you saw TJ Doheny stand next to Naoya Inoue, go back, watch him. Now go look at TJ Doheny against Nick Ball. Look at Stephen Fulton versus Naoya Inoue. Look at it when they face off, when they're in each other's face. Now look at Stephen Fulton and Oshasi Foster yesterday. Yo, Stephen Fulton was in Oshasi Foster's face like this. Like, what, son? Like that. He was like this. He was cross-eyed. He was like, what, son? Yo. And Oshasi Foster, he looked like real thin. Like, he was sunk in. He was like looking like this. And I was like, I said, oh, Shasi Foster is that big next to Stephen Fulton? I was like, but wait a minute. The Japanese dude, he right there was. Hold up. How big really is Naoya Inoue? And I remember Tank Davis is 5'5". He's the 135 champion. Isai Pitbull Cruz is 5'3". He became the 140-pound champion. Naoya Inoue is taller than Isai Pitbull Cruz, and he's the exact same height as Tank Davis. It's just body mass. How dense, how much weight can he put on and still sustain it? You know, we're all different in our body types. You know, Isai and Tank can be more thicker. You know what I'm saying? Tank got a big melon. He got the size of a head, a guy 6'4", but he's just 5'5". Tank, right? If you saw Tank from the neck up, you'd swear he was big as shit. Damn, that dude must be big as hell. Hey, little dude come out like, you know what I mean? Right? So I was asking myself that question. I was like, maybe Naoya Inoue can go up. You know, maybe these 2 knockdown shit like fucked them up a little bit. Might have stalled out the plan. You know what I mean? Never know. What's up? You think so? By a robbery decision. What does the boxing world have against Shasi Foster? Why does everybody going to think that they're going to always rob him? Or was that a case of Uncle Bob hooking up one of his fighters he really likes? Because when Uncle Bob likes you, he said, Brazil never had a world champion in this weight division. Wait a minute. We're going to make you the first Brazilian. Da, 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 da. But who the hell is Shasi Foster that the boxing world got to rob him? You know what I mean? Like, look, yeah, I hesitated in saying that he was a closer, not a closer. And I kind of hesitated in it because you're right. I was thinking about some of his fights that, he came back in the 12th round and he, but it kind of speaks to the level of his competition. Like he fights to their level. You understand that? Like, unless that guy is really like fighting him, he'll fall asleep for me behind the wheel sometimes, Shasi. He doesn't, he's content with feeling like he's in the lead in the fight. And in a sense, I could argue that. Fulton can't mess with Foster in the. Oh yeah, I read that one. Well, against Nova, look, Nova's been in some tough fights too, but he's on a bad fucking slump right now. No matter how much you like Nova as a fighter and his little mascot, he's like the only fighter in the boxing game that got a mascot, right? I think his mascot is dope as shit, right? And it was genius. He just had to win more. Losing, it's 3 fights. He's like in that category with Tevin Farmer, Nova. He's the Tevin Farmer. Good fighter. We know he's a good fighter. We know he's been in there with some tough opponents. He just lost all of them. And now what? Tevin Farmer is being viewed as what? The gatekeeper? You know what I mean? So Nova's in a tough, that's a tough situation to be in because you know the fighter that he is. You know what I mean? Like you just, and then to see Robersi knock him out like that, and then Robersi give up against Espinoza, and you're like, and you saw that Nova's cardio, his condition had him like weary, that he saw the punch coming. He was just a little too tired of me, but he had a good poker face, Nova. He just didn't want to show it, and he couldn't adjust to the shot fast enough. And Robersi was that fast, that confident. Bah, drops Nova, boom, and then the next 3 losing, he lost. So, I like Foster as a fighter. I like him as a fighter. I just think that somehow, some way, Stephen Fulton's gonna beat him. I got Stephen Fulton still in that fight. He's gonna beat O'Shaughnessy Foster, man. Look, when Stephen Fulton got hurt, he got dropped, right? Yeah, I saw it. But I really paid attention to how he came back in the fight. How he didn't let that affect him. I saw Stephen Fulton. Now, look, as a fighter, let me tell you guys something right now. And as a world champion, right? Look. For the Border Wars, that'll be dope, right? That'll be dope. A mascot for the Border Wars, that'll be dope as shit. But check it out, right? Oh, look. I like Stephen Kubo Fulton in the fact that he's going up to 130, right? For multiple reasons. One of the reasons has really nothing to do with actually the fight, but the belt that he currently has. That belt at 126 is messy. That's a messy belt. I wouldn't want to be the champion right now at 126, at the WBC World Champion. Why? Because that belt is so messy, right? Stephen Fulton is considered to be the 126-pound WBC World Champion, right? See, follow me here. See if I'm missing anything. But okay. Isn't Ray Vargas the champion in recess to said title? Huh? So Ray Vargas are you the champion or are you not the champion? What belt does Stephen Kubo Fulton have? How is he the champion if you're the champion in recess still? On top of that, you have Bruce Carrington, that's the interim champion to your belt. There's 3, and I repeat, 3 WBC world champion for the same belt that you have, counting Stephen Kubo. There would only be 2, counting him. That's 3. That's a messy situation. You got this guy, Ray Vargas, walking around talking about he's the champion in recess, that you're not really the champion. You got freaking Bruce Carrington talking about he's the interim champion and that you're ducking him all to your belt. It's a messy situation. So I like the fact that he's going up to fight him to just be a definitive, don't have any of that shit tied to your belt. You're the champion and that's it. It's just a messy situation belt. If you go look that up, trust me, you're going to find all 3 of their names under that one belt. It's going to be the interim, the freaking, the champion in recess, and Stephen Fulton. All in the one category at 126. Go check it out. Yeah. So that's why I like this fight in one way. And like I said, it has actually nothing to do with the fight. It's just a situation with the belt. And then when the fight itself, you know what sold it for me? I thought all day O'Shaughnessy Foster got this. He's going to whoop on little Scooter, send them right back packing to 126. Scooter's jumping up too far. I was like, Scooter, you crazy. But the minute, and I'm telling you, the minute I saw them next to each other, And Scooter was looking down at him like this from just that little angle. He was like, I said, wait a minute. I said, wait a minute. For some reason, I just thought that these guys at 130 was so much bigger. They just, on TV, they look so much bigger than these guys. And Scooter putting on, what was it, 4 pounds did that? 4 pounds did that for you. Because you're the 126, you're going up to 130. What? How many? 4 pounds. The 4-pound jump. I was like, wait a minute, this is going to be good. Because I always said this. If you're both skilled fighters, if you have two skilled fighters that have a good understanding of jab, range, distance, timing, they can fight off the back foot, fight going forward. If you had two fighters that were the same in, like, let's say, skill, what would separate them? I say O'Shaquie Foster has the best punching power out of the two. Stephen Fulton has not proved to be a big puncher ever in his career. And I mean ever, okay? He hasn't really proved to be a big puncher. So the power I give to O'Shaquie Foster, right? So what happens is that's exactly what you need to start doing. When you got two fighters that are equally skilled, what the other fighter brings to the table? What attributes do you have versus him? Are you taller? Are you got more range? You know what I mean? Are you bigger? Like, now you got to start breaking down the attribute. And I think that O'Shaquie has the more power. I don't think Scooter is easy to knock out. I don't think he's easy to knock out. I think he's tough. I took that from the Naoya Inoue ass whooping. That shot he took from Naoya Inoue, the first one that had him fucking on stanky legs, but that second shot that he drilled them down to the ground, I think most men would have stood down. I really did think so. I think Scooter got up. He was tough enough to get up. He had to put him down again. Naoya, rightfully so. He did that. But Scooter's showed he can take a punch. Unless you're cracking like that dude, Scooter showed you he's gonna get up off the ground. You're gonna have to put him down. So I don't know. I looked at Scooter and I said he's gonna be able to take O'Shaquie's punch. Yep. He's gonna be able to take that punch. And you know what? The one good thing about fighting a guy like Naoya Inoue, right, is that once you see that shit firsthand, if there's no one you fight that can do that shit, then you're gonna be like, unless you can do that, then you're not gonna beat me. Because I've already experienced the Naoya Inoue experience, Scooter. Unless you're moving like he is, I know firsthand what that looks like. I've experienced that. I don't think O'Shaquie Foster got that kind of skill like Naoya Inoue. No. I think he's good. I think he's a good fighter. I think he puts his punches pretty well, O'Shaquie, for the most part. I think he's a good little champion. Yeah. He's not like this multiple division, Adonis type fighter, like, your Terrence Crawfords and your Sauls and your, Uziks and shit of the world. He's not no shit like that, or like Jamel Charlo, but I think O'Shaquie Foster is a good fighter. And I think he was beating most of the guys in his division. He's a champion for a reason. He ain't no champion because he's no slouch. Nope. And like I said, until I saw that, I had O'Shaquie in the fight all day. I had him in the fight all day against Scooter. As soon as I said, wait a minute. I said, hold up. Hey, and Scooter pulls that off. Remember, he becomes a 3-division world champion. And what does that tell you about Naoya Inoue? Huh? How good is he? And Scooter's jumping up 2 weight divisions and taking everybody's belts. Hey, he's doing it. And he ain't win 10 seconds against the man. So, listen, guys. You don't think so? So, the height isn't going to matter? Like, I know it's not going to matter. I know that height's not going to matter. I'm just saying the size. I don't think either fighter was tall enough where the height's going to matter. And I don't think either of them oppose over a 6-inch reach over the other. So that's not going to matter. And it's going to have to be something over 6 for the reach. So I don't think none of them bring anything to the table. And that's what I was talking about. I don't think that the height Scooter has is going to matter. No, that's not what's going to matter. It's the size of them. That's what I think is going to matter. I think that he can move up in the weight and still look good, Scooter. It's a 4-pound jump, which in actuality is a 14-pound jump. You got to add 10 pounds to the 4 for fight night. Just on average, just to round it off. Meaning, if the fight schedule at 126, both fighter makes weight, but they have 36 hours to replenish. How much more weight does the fighter put on? I'll give you an average. On average, I'll give you 10 pounds. I'll give you, so the 4 and 10, 14. You see? So I don't see Fulton. I just think he's big enough to fight O'Shaquie Foster. I just think he's big enough. And I like the size that I saw. I liked it. And I said, well, I think we got ourselves a fight. I think we got black on black crime right here. That's definitely a fight. Oh, I love that fight, man. I like it a lot. It's a great fight. But I'm rooting for my guy from Philly. I'm going with Scooter. I'm going with Scooter on this one. Let's see what happens. But I don't really think that the boxing world has it out for O'Shaquie Foster. I don't think they got it out for him. I think he had some bad, he was on the wrong side of some bad judging. Shit fucking happens, huh? It sucks when you're on the other end of it, So yeah. You heard that Fulton walks around at like 180. A bingo hall in Mexico. Yeah, a lot of Mexicans had him against Navarrete, and he didn't win. Remember when they made the Mexican coat, and they made WBC had like that Mexican belt, and they had like all the legends in the front row, and they thought a lot of them picked Oscar Valdez over the unorthodox fighter that is Navarrete, because Navarrete doesn't have a game plan, and everybody knows it. He kind of like lets nature takes its course. He's a big puncher. He's big for the division, and the little guy couldn't move him. He had more skill. Oscar Valdez was a better boxer, but it didn't matter, because that was a situation where the attributes, what it was one fighter brought to the table. That's a perfect example. Navarrete brought too many attributes: height, reach, power. He had too many checks off on Oscar Valdez, and the rest of the Mexican, at least boxing world, said, no, we have Valdez in the fight because we just think he's a more pure boxer. And Valdez was getting his ass whooped all night and didn't make no adjustments in the fight. He kept pushing the game plan when he needed to be like, abort, this shit's not working. No, he stood. Kudos to him that when the ship was going down, he stood with the game plan. Valdez stood with what he was coached to do. But there's some times where you got to recognize as a fighter, yo, this shit is not working. I need to do something. We got to switch it up. I got to bite his ear off. That's it. I'm going Mike Tyson on you. You know what I mean? You got to do something. But yeah. I hear you. I hear you. Alberto, what's up? What's this? Hey, yo, listen. Uh, look, I'm locked in, bro. I'm locked in. You know what I'm saying? I'm like staying focused on this border war shit. You know what I mean? He said, "Nah, they got it out for my man." He said they got it out for him. Oh, Shazzy Foster. Yeah, he does. Mm. What's up? You guys know each other? Yeah. Now down in Philly, like my family has a gym down in Philly, in Philadelphia. We have a gym out there. It's called Kingdom's Boxing Gym in Philadelphia. It's this is their our belt down in Philly. So my family has a gym down there. Stephen Fulton has gone down to the gym when he was earlier in his career. He has used our family gym to work out in. You know, we have saunas in our gym. We're like one of the only ones in Philly that have saunas, right? And there's a lot of legendary gyms in Philly that are closing down. And there's some that are starting up and they have their little thing and stuff. But my sister, in fact, knows Scooter personally and Jerron Butanis. You know, she's a an official and stuff. Real deep into boxing. She's a boxing promoter, manager. My sister, she's managed fighters before. So she has a boxing gym in her cent. My nephew, he boxes in the gym. So we're real deep family into boxing. And if I ever wanted to know anything about Scooter or anything, I'll just call back home. I'll just call home directly. And I'm pretty sure I can, get in touch with Scooter. I'm pretty sure I can get in touch with Jerron Butanis. I don't think that's going to be too hard for me to do. I haven't really necessarily done that because I've been actually all over the place with things that I want to do in my life. Building this channel is one of them. That's at the top of my priority list because this is something that I want to do. I took another challenge in my life to really step up because I'm a fighter that I have no fight. I had no war I'm just an old fighter that has no war. And then I heard of this border war shit, and it was like, what? I was like, you guys want you guys to let fighters fight, and it's like a sanctioned fight, and it's gonna be. I was like, fucking sign me up. They're like, man, bro, you old as hell. You better go get some fucking, And I'm like, I'm just an old fighter that my warrior inside of my head he doesn't turn off. He wants me to feed him. So there's a lot that I have going on. There's these shirts I wanted to start making, and I got like the press over here, but I'm also doing and juggling this all by myself. And on top of that, I do take care of my own daughter. You know what I'm saying? My daughter is disabled, she's in a wheelchair, and I have to bring her from point A in the house to point B and I have to take care of her. I dress her in the morning. I put her on the bus. I get her off the bus. I feed her snacks. I cook her lunch, and then her mother comes over and she takes over from there. And I'm able to go on at night and stuff and go training. So, and then there's my yard work, my fucking grass. That shit never stops. I gotta clean out my gutters and shit in my house. Go ahead. You want to own a house? You want to be a homeowner? Well, then guess what? The landlord doesn't do come around and clean anything. You're that guy. You got to get up and spring into action. So at my age, I tackle on a lot. I do. And I realize that there's some things that I could be utilizing more than others, you know. But I think God has his plan with me. I think he has his plan. I don't think anything's happening by coincidence. It can't be coincidence that 8 months ago, 9 months ago, I picked up this one thing. for no reason, right? Like how this shit started, right? I know about boxing. My family's into boxing and everything, and I have a history of boxing, but I never really thought I was gonna get up here and start talking about it. So one day, I'm talking 6 years ago, 6 years ago, maybe longer. Shit, maybe like 7 years ago. I'm walking down the street and there's a duffel bag with two huge lights, like lights that you put for like camera flash action. And but they were professional lights. And they were just in a bag, like sitting there. So everything was like had a sign, free, take it. I'm like, and they had like a green screen, all this shit. And I was like, something told me, pick that up. You need it. What the hell? I don't know nothing about no goddamn lights, no video, nothing. Showing, lo and behold, those are the very lights that shine on me today. This mic, a lot of this stuff, it started coming together, and I started noticing that this wasn't coincidence. I think it's all in the plan. So, when I'm ready, I'll start getting better and bigger interviews, and I think that everything's gonna fall in place only in God's time. Um, I'm only, a vessel, and I'm trying to do some shit too, you know, and uh, I'm gonna go fight them border wars. That's what I'm gonna go do. I'm you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go pick a fight. Some of us go outside and do regular shit. Us fighters, we get up and we go pick a fight. And that's normal for us. It's normal for us. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a healthy aggression, and this is a sport that allows us to take that out, rather than us fighting like savages on a street corner or in some pit somewhere. At least we can do this for us that love to this sport. And I'm thankful for the men and the women, like Nestor Gibbs. He puts this shit together. It's a little, the time flying with me was a little, it's a tough. It was a small turnaround, a lot of months to cram into one, for me to get ready. There was a lot against me. There is a lot. Uh, but I'm not shying away. I'm not shying away. I'm saying, and I'm telling everyone, I can do this. I can do this. I'm gonna make it to that border wars, bro. I'm gonna make it to that fight. All right? I'm gonna make it to that fight. Whether I'm ready or not, whatever I got. Whatever I got done on the test is what I'm gonna submit. And hopefully it's good enough to pull off a victory. You know what I mean? But if I have to like fight, I'll fight. If I have to box, I'm gonna box. If whatever I think my situation is gonna be, I'm not gonna overthink it. I'm not gonna underthink it. I'm not doing any of that shit. I've been in enough fights in my life. I've been in a lot of situations in my life. I've been in situations where I shot my load out, pause in the first round, and I learned my lesson behind that. I to be tired and so defensively tired, you can't even block punches anymore. I put myself in that situation. I wasn't aware of my surroundings. I've been in the situation where you train so well that at least that thought of you gassing out wasn't there because you believed in your training. I've been there before. I've been like each fight taught me something to the next one. Some fights made me more cocky and arrogant. I know what knockouts feel like. I know what I've knocked out plenty of men in my life, and I know that you can fall in love with a punch. And when you hit another guy like that and don't get that effect, you're lost. I know those fighters that got the 1-2, and after the 1-2, they don't have no idea what to do. Um, I know what it's like to know a lot of this stuff and to forget it. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to be aware what to do, but your body's just not doing it. That's where training comes in. You must understand the benefits of training. You understand? And only training and hard work and repetition is where your performance will come out to show. That's what I believe. I don't believe in shortcuts. I don't believe in that shit. Hard work. Hard work. That's all I believe in. That's going to get me the victory. It's going to get me the victory. My hard work. And even, listen, if it doesn't, fuck it. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going for mine. I'm going to go get mine. That's it. I wanted a fight. I picked the fight. I'm in a fight. You know what I mean? I asked for the fight. Let's go. Let's go. You going to whoop my ass? You going to beat me? All right. Put him in the ring. Put him in the ring with me. All right. I'm going to show you better than I can. Man, listen. Put him in the ring with me. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about that shit. You know? Yeah. Look. Yeah. Look, I that's my wife. My wife thinks of shit like that, right? And my wife's like, yo, you know, boom, boom. And I'm like, baby, check it out. Right? Have you ever seen a Masters fight? Like these fights over 35 or whatever. Have you ever seen them? I was like, baby, if you wobble too much to the left, they're stopping the fight. They're stopping the fight, bro. Right? They give you standing 8 counts like they going out of style. Right? They really protect the fighter. You know, if they see that you take too many flush shots, boom, boom, boom. Well, hey, they get it. It's not like a professional fight where you're on your own. Until you go down, you're going to take punches to the face. And in some cities and countries, there are no standing 8 count. And in some cities and countries, there's no 3 knockdown rule. See? And in amateur boxing, if you didn't know this was explained to us. That if you knock the guy down, if they say he hits me, papa, and they go, whoa, and they give me a standing 8 count, that doesn't mean he won the round. That just means he won that moment. That's how they score that. They still will score it by punches landed in amateur. That means after I get that standing 8 count, I can come off those ropes and hit him 14 times with pa, and I win the round. Even though he gave me a standing 8 count, I still have the ability to win the round in the amateurs. Amateur fighting is scored way different than pros. You guys got to understand this. Because you guys might see me hit him a lot. And I don't know. The judges might say that he landed bigger shots or something. I don't know how they're going to view this. But that's what I do know. You know, so, yeah. I just got to make sure I feel like I'm winning the rounds after every round. I want to make sure I feel like I'm winning the rounds and, you know, really like, just have fun in there. I don't want to think about pacing myself. I don't want to think about getting hurt. I don't want to think about any of that shit. I'm not thinking about none of that. I'm thinking about having fun, being aware, alert. You know, don't create anything in your head. Don't say, I'm gonna go out there and get knocked out with one punch and get knocked. No, don't do that to yourself. Strong mindset. Strong mindset. All right? Have to have mental fortitude. You are here. The reason why you are here, it's only one reason, Papa. You are here to assist me on whooping your ass. That is the only reason why you're here, and that's exactly what you're gonna do. Now, snap, go that way. Ding, go that way. Now, ding, duck under that. You know what I mean? I'm just going to lure you into a dance, and we're going to do the forbidden dance. Huh? And then after I'm done spinning you around and twirling you, I'm going to set you up with the final move. Yo, watch it. Watch. Okay. Let's go, baby. Let's show these dudes we got a little fight left in us, and that we at our older age can still go out there and perform well. With proper training, good dedication. That it is up to us. That it is, and I want to prove that. I want to prove that. We can fight with guys on our level. It's not like I'm going in there with this kid that's 23 years old, 35 years old, that I really got a chance of getting really hurt here because I'm way out of my element. No, the guy I'm fighting is 48 years old too. I might be a little older. I'm 51. He's 48, but at least he's up there with me. You know what I mean? I'm not fighting on no young kid. So that's good at where the competition's even. The experience is on definitely on his side, where he just competed in the last border war August 2nd. So it's a quick turnaround for him, only 4 months. He should, do fairly well. A lot of the questions are coming on my half. And what I'm doing is I'm proving that with the right work, the good work ethic, that I can do this. Yeah, this shit has been tough, bro. Yo, you have no idea how tough this shit is. And I'm not even a third way there. We're still like ways out, I feel anyway, right? Like 68, 9 days or whatever, 70, under 70, I think. So, I still think we're like a ways out and shit, but just to get where I'm at today, the way I'm feeling, my physical, the way I'm looking, the way I'm starting to sculpture, like I must have been crazy walking around thinking I was still that dude, right? And like today, the guy that I am right now, I'd whoop my ass a month ago. If you were to put this version against me a month ago, that Edwin a month ago, he has no chance against this version right now. That's why I know I'm going in the right direction. That's why I know, because I know my body. I know what I'm capable of doing. And I know where I'm at right now. I'm not in a delusional. I'm not in denial. Nothing. I'm assessing myself like, yo. And I'm like, nope. Edwin a month ago could not beat this version today. And this version right here won't be able to beat the one that's a month from now. Trust me. The version you're going to get of me a month from now, he's going to be all right. And I think I'm on schedule. I think I'm fine. I think my dedication to this moment has been big. My wife can't believe it, right? She's like, how the hell did you stop smoking like that? She said, I couldn't get you to stop smoking for nothing. And she was like, look at you. You like did this. Like what do you? And she's like baffled. She's like sitting there like, and every man has their price. You just got to know what that man's price is and what he wants and what's valuable to him. Money, diamonds, gold, or whatever, it might have not been enough. Me, the love of my having for you, my wife, my kids, to stop smoking. It didn't interest me. And you fucked around and said, hey, I'll give you a fight and we're going to stream it. Boop! Yo, I stopped everything. Everything. I'm just like, they're looking at me like, what the hell? I'm like, every man has a different price. You just got to know what that man's price is and what he wants. Love, money, fortune, it wasn't my thing. It's not. You weren't going to get my attention like that. But you do this. Oh, you got my attention. You got my undivided attention. And OC, you're going to get all my attention, bro. All my attention. And we're going to show up there November 8th, and we're going to prove that we still can fight. We can fight, and I hopefully we give a great performance on both accounts. I really do. I hope that we over exceed what everybody thinks. Oh, they're gonna fight for 30 seconds and gas out. It's just gonna be two guys just slugging it out like this. And I'm saying, listen, let me tell you something right now. If that fucking dude, what's his name? The little island boy and um White, fucking Charles White, whatever. How many rounds did they go? And Charles White was just standing in the corner like this. He couldn't move. You know his ass didn't train, right? And the Island Boy didn't do much neither. I mean, it was just horrible to watch, but I just hope we do better than that. IOC. So, yo, fight fans, I really got to get to this gym. Time's going here. Yeah, I got to get down there. I got to get this workout in and prepare for tonight. Hopefully, they got somebody for me tonight and I could spar, man. Just wish me luck, bro. You know what I'm saying? Make sure, well, what? Make sure that the what? Medical gets cleared and everything is all ready to go for Border Wars. Brother, I'm not sure if you're aware. I've already cleared everything. Everything's all set for Border Wars. I have my boxing book already. It already got cleared by my doctor, everything. We're already signed up. There's no other procedure I have to wait for. Yeah, everything's already cleared. So, yeah, the fights will go. Any YouTuber I ever want to get in the ring with? No, I'm not just sitting here trying to pick fights with YouTubers now. I really don't give two shits about that. You know, if they never got in the ring or whatever, then let them handle that shit. I'm not saying that I'm the toughest YouTuber. Nah. This is just personal for me. I really don't want to claim to be the toughest guy in the world. After this, I just might be one and done. I'm not sure what I'll do. Let's see how I feel after the fight. Uh, I don't do this for the fame of saying, "Oh, I could beat him or beat him." Nah, I, I, I don't need that status. That's not what I seek. I'm just seeking a fight. That's it. That's it. And I'm content with that. I don't want to portray to be the toughest or anything else. So if a YouTuber want to call me out, man, yo, have at it, bro, man. Go that way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to start a thing here, right? But you never know. You never know. I mean, fucking Jake Paul come out talk about, yo, I'll fight. Listen, I'll fight Jake Paul. I'm telling you that right now. And I know he likes to fight older dudes. So don't give me no shit. That Jake Paul bag. Woo, that money good. Yo, listen, I'll fight Jake Paul. I'll tell you that. Right? But, other than that, I don't do this for popularity or whatever. But I do like the fact that right after this fight, your boy, he's gonna be on Box Rec. When you look up my name, it's gonna be my picture up there in Box Rec. And when them dudes is talking about boxing, oh yeah, I know what it is, the jab, right? Where's your Box Rec at, fool? You know what I mean? At least I'll be certified in that way too. Because there's ignorant fans where they're like, oh, have you ever boxed or you never laced it up? No, but I do know some dudes that do know what they're talking about. They might have not laced it up, but their insight, it's fucking that of a coach. I know a lot of coaches that never fought in the ring. They're coaches. People share different positions. And just because a coach was never good as a boxer doesn't mean he's not going to be good as a coach. He might have a better coaching mind than a boxer. He might know how to talk about it, but his body doesn't translate it. So he goes and finds an athlete that can translate his vision, and he molds a fighter. So, so I don't think that just because you didn't lace it up, I'm the type of guy. You don't know what you're talking about. No. There's a lot of people that do know what they're talking about, but does it not help for a boxing channel, the guy on the channel have experience in the ring as a fighter. And I can tell you personally, I know what that feels like. I know what he's going through. I can see this in the worry. I could see the fight slipping right away from him. You know what I'm saying? I know that look on a man's eyes when he no longer wants to be in the fight. And this comes from fighting in the ring. Experience. So in that sense, I do like the fight that I'm fighting on Border Wars because it does add to what I do, what I choose to do. And that's talk about boxing. So fight fans, listen, I love you guys. Round 1 versus Usyk. Listen, I'll fight him for all 4 of those. Did you say 4 belts? I'll fight you in a parking lot for 4 belts. Well, 5 belts now because that Ringside magazine, woo, that shit is making noise. That shit, I told you it wasn't going to be tough for him to turn that into a real belt. It's got too much history. Yeah, it's no longer going to be like a trophy belt or an award, the type of belt that recognizes you for like the toughest guy in the division when the number 1, number 2 guy fight against each other. That's the Ringside. The number 1, the number 2, that they're supposed to be like that belt's supposed to signify that you're like the best of the best in your division. It's supposed to be like the king belt, the ring. Because of the fact that it's never backed by anybody. And, you know, the boxing world doesn't count it. You know, and that's evident when they announce fights. When they announce Saul Canelo Alvarez, what do they say? Unified, undisputed world champion. He has what? All 4 belts. Excuse me, say that again. All 4 belts. It's remarkable because he has the Ringside magazine right around his shoulder. It's present, but do they acknowledge it? Have they acknowledged it throughout the years of boxing? They give the Ringside its just due, its respect. It's they recognize it for what the belt stands for. People that have owned the magazine, like Oscar De La Hoya, that he was a boxing promoter at the time. And it seemed like a lot of Mexican fighters were getting the Ringside magazine belt at one time. A lot of people viewed it as a more popularity. But mainstream boxing, it has the Ringside magazine is too prestigious to just discard it. It has too much value. It wasn't going to be hard for someone to take that belt and turn it serious. The Ringside has been right here, side to side with all these belts throughout all the years, but they don't say a 5-belt era. In a 3-belt era, when Mike Tyson had all 3 and the ring, did they say he was a 4? He had 4 belts? No, they said he had 3 belts. Mike Tyson didn't need the WBO at the time. Neither did he need the Ringside magazine to be the undisputed world champion. You don't need the Ringside to be undisputed. And that's how you know they don't count it like that. Because unless you had the Ringside and you only had all 4, you wouldn't be undisputed now, would you? Because you would be missing a belt. Now, would you? Yes. So why could you have all 4 and be considered undisputed without the Ringside? Yeah. So anyway, fight fans, love you guys. You guys are the best. I'm off to the gym. Peace. I'll be back at it later on.